you
on their
fuck a
own and they
goat?
have to live in like a care home. And that's because there's an interest to the individual to protect themselves. Obviously, if a mentally disabled person was behind a wheel or had a gun, they could easily harm themselves or harm other people. And even if they were living alone, they could easily harm themselves or perhaps harm somebody else. Like if they have a severe autistic breakdown, they could just go out, attack somebody if they didn't have like a carer who could manage some of their, I don't know, outbursts. So that doesn't mean we kill them and turn them into hamburgers. So they still have basic human rights. Again, in the proposition I made, animals would be granted the same rights as human beings if they were to be trade equalized. So the trait you named here was like cognitive capacity or mental disability.
Scott, we can
Um,
hear him, but not you.
so
Check
from
chat.
my perspective, a dog, okay, they can't drive, they can't own a gun, they can't vote. A human being with that same lack of cognitive capability would have those same rights restricted, but we wouldn't be okay with killing the human. And most people also wouldn't be okay with killing a dog either, because we have this like weird thing with pets. But cows, chickens, pigs, relatively similar levels of intelligence. Pigs are actually, in fact, smarter than dogs. There's some like species of birds like parrots that are arguably smarter than dogs. It would be wrong to kill them for the same reason it would be wrong to kill a human being.
Well, it's just not to sit here and get up on semantics and things like that, but I just think it's interesting that you want to give human rights to non-human entities. It's just like I don't know. Maybe you should think of something different to call it then, if that's the case. And
Well, that's what
it,
it is.
what you
So, let's say Star Trek was real or something, and Vulcans came to Earth, and there was an intelligent alien species that came to Earth. They're not humans. We would grant them human rights because they have the same basic traits that we do. They're conscious, they're intelligent, they may even be more intelligent than us because they have interstellar travel. They even have very similar cultural norms. So we would still call it human rights because those were like we're granting the same rights that are granted to human beings. You can call it whatever you want. You could just call it universal rights. You could just call it rights, period. Um, I'm just saying veganism is a logical extension of human rights, and human rights should be granted to animals, just so everyone understands what I'm talking about.
I call it dinner is what I call it. Um, I mean, look, like yeah, we like I said, we don't hunt and kill the retarded for sport, obviously, right?
We
Um,
have.
well, hey, I don't agree with that necessarily, but um, at the end of the day, even comparing the retarded to dogs insofar as like a human is gonna be able to like I don't know I guess when it comes down to it, dogs and people are different. And if you're gonna sit here and conflate the two, you're running into problems that you cannot solve. You're running
Slaughter
into
the
issues.
animal while the tear is
And
at its
if we're going to sit
jaws.
here and we're going to have those various
Slaughter
degrees
the
of societal
animal
scale of
while
how we
the
treat certain
tear the
individuals, it's
animals.
regardless of what you say, it's
Yea,
kind of
there
tough for
the
me to
animal
define the
while the
idea that
tear the
we
at its
should give a
jaws.
gerbil the
And
same rights
everything
that we
out,
would give
nigga.
a human. And I forget if you went over it or not already. What would you define human rights as? Like, could you give me some examples of what human rights would be?
Well, we could just go by the International Human Rights Code. We could go by the American Human Rights Code. There's well established there's a well-established idea and process of human rights in most modern Western countries.
Okay, but what is that though?
Well,
Red alert.
like,
Red alert.
I don't know why, I don't know
Red
if we really have to
alert.
discuss this. Like, do you agree with the idea of human rights?
There's a gay guy. Gay guy alert.
The thing is, when we're sitting
Gay guy alert. Red alert. Gay guy alert. Gay guy alert. Red alert. Warning. Warning. You are the gay guy. This is the gay guy right here. Warning. Warning. Red alert. Red alert. Red alert.
I'm not using any related terms unless you disagree with the idea of human rights. Like, do you believe in like the United States Constitution? Where
I've heard this vegan fella
you
use the
have
same argument at an
basic
animal
rights
shelter
and
when he was trying
freedoms,
to
you have
find
the
a
right to
wife.
life, you have
It
a
was a
right to
dog.
freedom of expression, those sorts of things.
Well, I mean, you're talking about using international standards, and then you're changing it to American standards. Yeah, I believe in the Constitution, but I don't believe.
Well, American standards align pretty perfectly with international human
Hey, Scott, it's me,
rights
Fatty. I was just wondering, are you going to schedule a boxing match with this
that's
vegan
another
pussy?
conversation.
Like, there's differences in things like free speech, but that's also part of international human rights standards.
Okay, so
It's just that international human rights standards might not protect like hate speech, whereas in America it does.
So if a dog says something mean about Muslims, can they be arrested?
Like, I don't see them saying anything mean about Muslims, and if a dog were to say something mean about Muslims, I'd be all for it. There should be more criticism of Islam, if you ask me.
All right, I agree.
I would say that dog is pretty goddamn based if he's calling the Prophet Muhammad a pedophile.
All right, we agree there. Sorry.
Whoa, Scott, it's your conscience. That stuff we did to Haley might have been illegal. We should think about lawyering up.
I think you're getting kind of like weirded out at this idea of like, I don't know, a pig or a gerbil having human rights. So in the proposition, I outlined specifically that animals would have human rights if they were to be trade equalized to a human. So if a human had the same rough cognitive abilities, roughly the same degree of sentience, we would grant animals the same rights as that human being would have in that context. So because like a dog can't give political opinions or can't, say anything that would be considered hate speech, or say something that would disturb the peace, like yell fire in a crowded theater. These just aren't issues. So you could ignore that. Like a dog isn't going to try to like advocate for its rights to vote. Those aren't the kinds of problems we're talking about here. The kinds of problems we're talking about is whether or not we'd be okay with living in a society where mentally disabled human beings would be killed and eaten for burgers, and whether or not we want to live in a society where animals with a similar level of intelligence would be killed and eaten for burgers. That's the fundamental issue we're talking about. And we were talking about dogs a little bit specifically. Like, I'm sure you don't want people to hit and abuse their dogs.
No, Jimmy,
you don't want people
come out,
kicking their dogs.
not the dog.
You don't want people using maybe pain compliance devices like shock collars or prong collars that would harm a dog's overall well-being.
No, Jimmy!
Things
no,
like that.
Oh, canal!
So
no, Jimmy,
if you're
no,
going to
not
give
the dog!
that sort of level of compassion and consideration to an animal like a dog, we are like we do live in a society where dogs are nearly treated as we would treat a mentally disabled child. They don't have quite the same rights and protections, but they do have close to the same rights and protections. We do already have, animal rights laws. It is illegal to kick your dog. It is illegal to abuse your dog. So if you agree with those sorts of principles for an animal like a dog, I don't know how you can't apply those same sorts of principles to other animals.
Well, the fact of the matter is, have judged or used to judge over the years, and I know it hasn't been perfect, don't say Fega, don't say Fega, don't say Fega, but that's part of what we've used to judge over the years, not a group.
Stop thinking about taking dogs to the bathroom for quote-unquote bits. Tell him tards should be eaten. They're candy.
Should we colonize? Should we build railroads and all this other stuff, right? We wouldn't do that to like the Snake Island in Brazil or anything like that, where there's like snakes every few feet. And I just feel that you're coming from a standpoint of trying to get me to say that I agree with human rights, which I of course do, but then using it in a way that is incongruent with the way that most people think of the situation. At the end of the day, like, I don't want to get, I'll be honest with you, I don't want to give human rights to a cow because, for one thing, it couldn't even grasp the concept, no matter how intelligent it is. It couldn't grasp the concept in the first place. And then, yeah, I like eating meat. Bottom line, I like steak. I had feijoada, right? It's pork and beans, Brazilian pork and beans, very good. If you ever break veganism, as unlikely as it is, try it out. It's a situation where I'm not afraid to say it. Like, fuck ethics, man. I like steak. And then on top of that, even ethically, like I said, you just run into situations where you can't square circles, and you get to a point where you're saying like, you won't have to worry about them voting. You won't have to worry about, hate speech. Of course, was being a little bit cheeky about that dog hate speech thing earlier. That was a joke. But you end up in a situation where you're picking and choosing like what human rights to afford it based off of what is going to make sense, as opposed to just taking human rights as a whole as we understand it. And I think that's dangerous because who's to say you can't apply human rights to other things? Like plants, for instance, trees. They communicate with each other to try and help each other, for one thing. Injured trees will help out other injured trees. And then you're talking about like compassion and things like that. Yeah, like people are compassionate. That doesn't mean that you have to give an animal the right to the right to do whatever it is they would be able to do under your system, other than not be eaten for food if they happen to be cattle or an animal that's hunted.
Oh, little May Jock, little May Jock, little May Jock, little May Jock.
We wouldn't give human rights to
little May Jock, little May Jock.
There is no way in which they could
May Jock, little May Jock, little May Jock, little May Jock.
We only apply human rights to consciousness. They are not sentient. They can't think or feel. They might have intelligence and be able to communicate with each other, but your phone has intelligence. AI has intelligence.
AI is just an algorithm, though.
Well, yeah. You could argue plants have their own kind of algorithm built into their DNA, but they're not sentient, which is why we wouldn't give them rights. Secondly,
go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
So, secondly, again, you're not actually, like, you have named a trait. So far the trait is intelligence, and what intelligence entails, like being able to advocate for your own rights. Mentally disabled people cannot advocate for themselves, especially if they're severely mentally disabled, but we still give them human rights because We understand they can think and feel, they can benefit from these rights, and we don't want to see other people suffer. We don't want to see them be abused or live out on the street and slowly rot away and die or harm themselves in some kind of way. If you're going to give mentally disabled people human rights, but you have a group of organisms that have roughly the same cognitive capacity, and in some cases greater cognitive capacity. I think pigs have been noted to have roughly the intelligence of a 4 or 5-year-old. Other animals like parrots, around the same level of intelligence. There are people who are so severely mentally disabled, I don't even know if you can really measure their level of intelligence. But we still grant
Scott
them
is now
rights.
thinking about
So
looking up pictures of burgers and
if
eating
you're
his
going
phone.
to
Scott is a
say
fucking idiot.
Animals can't
Bad
advocate
Scott.
for themselves.
No.
They don't have the mental capacity, but you would give human beings that share those same traits or lack of traits human rights, then what's the symmetry breaker? Because right now that's a contradiction.
The fact that they're human. They are humans, therefore they get human rights. And I know that under your idea, oh well, human rights doesn't necessarily just have to be afforded to humans, but that's the whole reason we're here, is to argue that you're trying to compare dogs to mentally disabled people in a way that's to say that a human and a dog should have the same ability to do whatever they feel like, regardless of whether they can think or feel. And that's the thing is, dogs can feel, right? They know when someone's being like mean, whether physically, or you have some dogs that they will react, when you're like yelling at them and stuff like that. They'll do the little pouty thing. But they aren't sentient in the way that humans are. And that's just a fact. They don't have the capacity for language. They don't have the ability to grasp complex concepts in the way that we do. I think they've been compared to like 7 or 8-year-olds or something like that. And we don't give 7 or 8-year-olds rights. You literally don't have.
You do have rights as a 7 or 8-year-old.
Yeah, a right to not be like, a right to not be like held against your will as a human being. But when you're born into captivity and that's all you know, that's all you've been trained for, or not trained for, but that's what you are for as a cattle animal, like a cow or a pig or something like that. It's sort of a situation where it's like, look, like I don't have kids, but when I do, if somebody tries to tell me that the pig at the zoo should have the same rights as my 7-year-old son or daughter, I'm gonna tell them to fuck off. It's just the way that it is.
Okay, so you mentioned the trait human, so we can add that on. How do you define human?
Human. Oh boy, we're getting into metaphysics here.
Well, it's not metaphysics, depending on how you define human.
It's
like, is it just like species?
Yes, I'm making a joke. So a human. Well, you see, but that's the thing. You're purposefully trying to. It feels like you're purposefully trying to pigeonhole me into defining humans as strictly animals when that's much more broad. Do I believe we're animals? Yes, but I think we're probably a little bit more than animals given everything that is around us right now. Humans, I would say, are. I mean, hey, it's tough. Nobody's ever asked me that question. It's again.
Well,
it's
do you know what a woman is? It's pretty easy to define. If we want to get pedantic. It has to do
I'm a
with
retard,
traits,
Scott.
not,
Can you milk me, huh?
chromosomes, but,
Can you milk me, please, Scott? My udders are about to burst.
Humans are animals. We're a species of great ape. And human is defined as being a member of the species Homo sapiens sapien.
Look, just because your grandfather was a monkey doesn't mean mine was, bro. Fucking, like, I'm not, I'm not someone who is a hardline Bible thumper, but I do believe there's more than humanity than we're just descendants of great apes and things like that. I think there is something a lot more vast than we can understand.
Well,
and,
do you believe in evolution?
I could believe evolution is or was and is a tool of God. Yeah. I think that the
well,
way
it's fine.
things
You
work,
can believe in God and believe in evolution.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. So is that your definition, just being a part of the species Homo sapiens sapien?
Only because I haven't really put more thought into what makes a human. Well, you see, here's the thing. We're getting into... I was trying to avoid religion, but I'll just... Fuck it. We'll dive right in. God created Adam and Eve. He allowed Adam to name all of the animals. He gave them to us for food and other aspects. When we ended up getting sent down to earth, we got cast out of heaven. That's how we had to make our bread. Figuratively and literally, was working the field and hunting. God gave us the animals, right? I was trying to avoid it, but that's the way it is.
Okay, but regardless of that, you agree? Like, do we agree on the definition of what a human is?
That you see, I don't want to agree with you, because even though it's not something I 1,000,000% object to, what I'm trying to say is, I think there's more to it than just that. And I was trying to avoid philosophical.
That's fine.
For the sake of trying to make the argument a little bit easier.
I need to be milked, Scott. I am retarded
Right,
and need to be
so
milked. Put on your milkmaid outfit and get to work.
Say you could get species differentiation from a single generation. So somebody could birth someone else that isn't a human being. And let's say the person they birthed was mentally disabled. Would you be okay with killing that mentally disabled non-human that was birthed from a human being?
Well, I mean, depends on what we're talking about here. Are we talking about an abomination? Are we talking about something? Are we talking about something that's going to be suffering, or are we talking about basically like?
Well,
like
it could suffer if you turn it into hamburgers.
Well, if it's turned into hamburgers, it ain't suffering anymore.
Well, afterwards.
What do you mean afterwards? It's dead. It's already been turned into hamburgers. It's in my stomach.
Well, on the way there, it can suffer.
On the way there, all right. But is it suffering in the moment, and is it an abomination of some form?
I don't know what you mean by abomination, but just to be more clear, let's say we had some sort of special scanning tool that can scan your genome, and certain people born do not have the cluster genetics that would make them part of the human species. So they wouldn't be Homo sapiens sapien. They'd be something else.
I see what. And I don't. Hey, say no more, man. I see what's going on here. And my answer to that is, what if I had a magic wand that turned somebody from this allegedly suffering abomination into a human, or into say like a regular cow? What if I had something of that kind?
I don't know. But what would your stance be on like whether or not you grant that being human rights?
I don't know, because that was fucking preposterous what you just said to me, man.
Okay, well, let me ask you maybe an easier question. if aliens came down to Earth, let's say Vulcans actually existed. It wasn't just some kind of fantasy thing out of Star Trek, but there was an alien species that came down to planet Earth. You would grant them human rights, correct? Like you wouldn't say, well, you're not human, I guess I'll turn you into hamburgers.
Well, I mean, if they come down and they're sentient and they have the same capacity for
we'll assume they have the same
and all that stuff, then I probably wouldn't be pulling out the meat grinder.
Scott, you have no chance. This guy is a professional retard. He does debate bro shit for veganism all day. You can't
there's
win.
An alternative species that is intelligent, you wouldn't want to kill them. But if there's an alternate species that is not intelligent, you would be okay with killing them.
Well, it entirely depends. Is the alternate unintelligent species a good food source? Because we don't kill tigers for food because they're not a good food source.
You can eat a tiger just fine. The reason we don't do it is primarily just because there's not an interest in killing and eating them.
Because they're not.
People do eat tigers. People do absolutely eat tigers.
I'm sure they can.
So like, what do you mean by good food source? Like, you can eat anything.
You can
eat people.
You can't.
During the Liberian Civil Wars, there was a lack of food, but there was a ton of dead bodies, and people would eat dead corpses to survive. People are a perfectly adequate food source.
Yeah, but the difference being that that's an abomination versus cattle. And you're asking me hypothetical questions because if you were to ask me about like cows or something like that, that would be again.
Well, I'm asking you about your ethical values.
My ethical
values.
So
I'm just trying to find out whether or not you actually value some of these traits you're talking about. So you don't seem to particularly value whether or not a species is human, because that's not a common denominator to take away human rights. You seem to care about things like intelligence.
Could you at least ask the vegan if he would be willing to milk me? I'm too retarded to milk myself. Please help.
But if there was a non-intelligent, non-human species, you would be fine with killing and eating them.
You see, again, this is a hypothetical.
Even if there was an extraterrestrial intelligent adequate food source, we'd probably eat at them and think it's fine.
The line of questioning you're trying to lead me down, where you're just going to continue asking questions that are designed to try and get me in some kind of weird gotcha. And now that I'm calling you out on it, you're saying you're just trying to gauge my ethics. It's just strange, man. Like at the end of the day, cows are food. That's just what they are. No amount of fucking like aliens coming down and being either retarded or autistic savants is gonna change that, you know?
Yeah, so the proposition I made is really just pointing out that I don't think there's any way of advocating for killing animals without also advocating for taking away human rights.
And why is that?
Well, I think we're demonstrating that over the course of this discussion. If you're fine with killing, if you're fine with killing people that are, non-human animals that are mentally retarded, or lack the kind of cognitive capability that your average human has, that would logically entail that you would be okay with killing mentally disabled human beings, or at least a species that you would have an interest in granting rights.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. You're asking questions that are designed to just get deeper and deeper and more like weird and complex in a bid to try and catch me, so that this was your big reveal, was like you'd kill retarded people. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? What are you doing here right now, man?
Okay, well, how about we get away from talking about aliens?
Yeah, let's keep talking about retards.
You believe in evolution, correct?
Yeah.
So humans evolved from apes, which evolved from some sort of monkey-like creature, which evolved from some sort of other simpler being. How far back in our evolutionary history would you be okay with killing our ancestors?
What, for food, or just killing them in general? Because I'd never eat an ape.
Yeah, so killing them for food.
Yeah, I'd never eat an ape. Comes down
Well,
to
why
it.
not?
Huh?
Well, why not?
Not a good food source. At least not the way I see it. Not appealing to me.
Um,
If somebody else wanted,
So people have and do eat apes. It's bushmeat.
people eat shit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said not having the cognitive capacity of a human being and not being part of the human species. If you go back far enough in our evolutionary history, we wouldn't be part of the genus Homo, and we wouldn't have human level intelligence. So, how far back in our evolutionary history would be okay to kill our ancestors and eat them?
Beats me. I'd say probably. Whatever common ancestor we had with all the other apes, because we aren't descended from apes in the way that people think we are. It's not like there's it's not like we sprang out of the apes we see today. There was a common ancestor and they did that.
Yeah.
Okay. And?
So you're saying from the point where we split off from like chimpanzees?
Yeah, and again, these are like ridiculous questions. I'm only entertaining them for the sheer amusement. But yeah, if you put a gun to my head and said you're gonna die if you don't pick one to kill, I'm probably gonna go back to the ape that split off into what we have today and us, or even earlier than that if it comes down to it. And no, I wouldn't kill my own.
Right. So if there was another intelligent species that was on the planet, or say an alien civilization that came to Earth, saw our ancient ancestors and said, they're not as smart as us. They don't have our Vulcan level of intelligence. So it's okay to kill and eat them. You'd be fine with that other intelligent life form basically preventing humanity from ever existing.
Are we really on fucking ancient aliens right now, dude? This is the turn we've taken.
Well, it's not necessarily ancient aliens. Let's just assume there was like another intelligent life form on the planet. Like maybe dinosaurs evolved a higher level of intelligence and weren't wiped out, and they saw these like chimpanzees.
Sure.
Run it, or chimpanzee-like being. You'd be fine with wiping out all of humanity. Because
dude,
you have...
I'd help him out. I'd drop the fucking nuke, bro.
Okay, well, I think you're being a little facetious.
Just a little bit.
But this is kind of like, this is what is entailed from your moral values. You'd have to be okay with, some other intelligent life forms wiping out all of humanity before we had a chance to evolve and gain the intelligence we have today, because you think, these two traits, or really it's just one trait, because you seem to really only care about intelligence. Like if you were to come across a cow that was as intelligent as any human being and could read and write and, learn human culture, you wouldn't be okay with killing the cow, presumably, right?
I mean, hey, if it means I get to eat steak, you know what? Yeah, I would.
You would?
I would. Yeah, fuck that cow.
Okay, well, I think you're joking.
No.
But I'm pretty sure you're not being serious. But I like being real for a second here. You would actually be okay with all of humanity getting wiped out before we ever actually got a chance to exist. Because, again, presumably it's okay to just wipe out creatures that are not at a certain level of intelligence.
Survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest? That's all you care about?
Yep.
Well,
dude,
that's all you care.
I'm a social Darwinist, dude. I think heroin
Social
users,
Darwinist?
unless they're willing to get help, I think they should be left completely and totally alone to do whatever the hell they feel like. Because if they want to fuck themselves up, go right ahead. Just don't do it on my tax money. Either that, or if we're gonna have tax money, actually make it so that they're going to get the help. Go ahead.
So I'm curious, if you're interested in survival of the fittest and Darwinism, social Darwinism, do you see any problem with like genocides or holocausts?
What, as in what, like the Armenian genocide, or the
Yeah, or
Holodomor?
the Nazi, like the Jewish genocide or Holocaust, any of these, because
the Jews genocided somebody.
well, no, the Nazis.
Oh, those guys.
Because
Yeah, I don't
again,
like those
presumably survival of the fittest. If there's a weaker culture that gets wiped out, that would be fine, right?
Whatever you say, man. Whatever you say, yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to understand your moral values.
Because humans shouldn't be rounded up like cattle. And whatever the hell happened in whatever Holocaust or Holodomor, Great Leap Forward, that's not something that should be happening to humans. And it's not happening because people are like, oh yes, we need food. At least I would like to think the Nazis didn't cannibalize the Jews or any of the gypsies or gays.
The Japanese did.
Yeah, well, hey, take that up with them, man. That ain't none of my business. Those guys have always been weird as far as I'm concerned. But fucking the bottom line is there's a difference between the Holocaust and the Purdue chicken factory, even though the Purdue chicken factory is pretty disgusting. And the cattle should be treated better overall. To compare the two is like insane. I'm sorry, but it's they're just not the same. They're just not.
Well, again, you've stated that if we go back far enough in human history where we split off from chimpanzees, you would have been fine with our ancestors being rounded up like cattle and getting turned into burgers. So if you're fine with the human species never having existed, I don't know how you could, well, I guess that's the only way to justify chicken farming or cattle farming or any of this sort of farming. But it's hard for me to believe that you actually are okay with the idea of us never existing, assuming some other intelligent species had the same kind of preferences you had or sensibilities you had, where they're less intelligent than us, so I guess we can just wipe them out, turn them into hamburgers or chicken nuggets or what have you.
Well, that's just the thing. We exist. It didn't happen. And if it did happen, I wouldn't be here to be having this conversation.
Right, but you have the benefit of being here and thinking about this. So
I thought about it, and I like hamburgers.
So your way of justifying eating hamburgers is it's okay if the human species were to have been wiped out.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. How about we talk about some like nutrition topics if you're interested?
Oh, dude, I'm just the man for that.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, there's certain dietary patterns.
Pot-belly ginger.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, so there's certain dietary patterns that I think are ideal for the human race. Diets that are high in plant foods, particularly fruits and vegetables, and high in fiber. Beans and lentils seem to be the food that is most highly correlated with longevity. avoidance of saturated fat and cholesterol, and getting the majority of your fat sources from poly and monounsaturated fat sources seem to be ideal, and avoiding red meat in particular. Those seem to be dietary patterns that are ideal for human health. That sort of dietary pattern causes the least prevalence of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. So a dietary pattern that fits that best would be a vegan diet that
Scott, you were
consists of
one
mostly
smart
whole
man.
foods. What
Then
do you think
Nuruddin
of that?
Abra knocked it out of you. This is worse, that first PK, I love India.
Hey, I don't know, man. Fucking beats the hell out of me. I do know that meat is healthy for you, regardless of what you are trying to say about it. At the end of the day, nobody gets out of life alive, and if I live to be 70 or 75, I'm gonna die anyway. So when it comes down to it, I think I'm totally okay with. The lack of the purported, the alleged lack of health that apparently is coming with me eating my burger and stuff like that.
Okay, but if you had an interest in living longer and avoiding chronic disease, would you agree that, okay, so assuming you would have an interest, you might not personally, but assuming you would have an interest in living as long as you could while avoiding chronic disease, would you agree that sort of dietary pattern is ideal for that sort of goal?
I don't know if you're telling the truth. I don't know if you know whether you're telling the truth or not. I think you probably just picked your cherry-picked studies and things like that, and you're now trying to turn around and be like, oh, you see, plants are us. Dude, just like Kellogg's breakfast cereal. Fucking, they funded their own studies and shit like that. Like, that shit still happens today. I don't believe anyone when it comes to food, I'll be honest with you, but I do know that humans have been omnivorous since the dawn of time, and you can eat whatever you want at the end of the day. I don't think I don't think you're gonna die immediately because you don't have a steak, but also, I mean, I don't know that it's 100% true. We keep figuring out things that were incorrect from 5 years ago. And people still talk about those things as though they're 100% true. Like cholesterol in eggs. Eggs have good. Oh fuck! I was just poke the shit out of myself. Cholesterol in eggs. Eggs actually have good cholesterol in them. There's two types of cholesterol. I think it's like HDL and LDL. I think HDL is the good cholesterol. I remember growing up, people were like, "Don't eat eggs because they have cholesterol in them." It was the good fucking cholesterol. That's just an example of like how muddied the waters are when it comes to food. So when it comes down to it, yeah, sure. In theory, if everything you're saying is correct, all right, fine. Yeah, sounds great. Sounds fantastic. I still don't care. Doesn't matter to me at all. I don't plan on living forever. But yeah, sure.
Well, a few things to point out. So the longest living population on the planet is the Californian Adventist vegetarians. They're the longest living population of people that have ever been studied. Now, in places like Okinawa, Japan, there's a higher amount of centenarians, so people are more older, but their average life expectancy is so the reason you see more centenarians there is probably due to genetics as opposed to lifestyle factors. Secondly, there's very large and long-term cohorts like the Advanced Health Studies, the Oxford Vegetarian Cohort. Vegans and vegetarians do live longer than just typical meat eaters. And on top of that, there's trials like the Leon Hart trial, where they put people on a Mediterranean diet pattern, again, lowered their saturated fat and cholesterol intake, ate more whole plant foods, more beans, lentils, fruits and vegetables, and lowered their red meat intake. And that's one of the most successful trials for and the egg thing you mentioned, raise your LDL bad cholesterol, which is it's the primary cause of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. So eggs will raise your HDL cholesterol somewhat, but the majority of the increase in the use of blood pressure is going to come in the bad cholesterol, the LDL.
Did you know that bodybuilders live less time on average?
Yes, and that's due to their bad diet and steroid use. And also the stress from competing, like the dehydration and crap.
How do you know it's not specifically because they're lifting weights? How do you know lifting weights isn't bad for you?
Well, there's studies on this.
Studies by who? Big Planet Fitness?
No. I think it was done by the National Institute of Health. They have found benefits with resistance training. So people who resistance train tend to live longer.
Yeah, and no, I actually agree with that as somebody who is in the MMA world myself. I don't disagree with that, right? But the point that I'm trying to make with that is that you're sitting here pointing to all these people who there are a lot more other things that go on in their life other than them just sitting around eating vegetables all the time. This is actually something that was, to my understanding, noticed in Italy and Italian communities in America. All of a sudden, they went from being a pretty healthy group of people to having a bunch of heart problems. And it was because of the diet, to the fact that instead of having to walk around and work and keep their bodies, public transportation, got their rustic Italian towns. New York, the North End, Boston, things like that, right? What I'm saying is, for one thing, obviously the Seventh-day Adventists are going to be like, yeah, we're the best. The way our way of life is the best. But at the end of the day, to sit here and chalk it up to just their diet, that's not nearly the whole picture.
Yeah, so there's no prospective cohort that looks at raw data. They make adjustments to the data set to account for lifestyle factors like exercise, cigarette smoking, socioeconomic status, alcohol consumption, and after adjusting for all of these factors,
why you
they still
are you crazy?
You fucking they do live longer than your average American. So again, the diet seems to play a
bloody bastard,
the significant role here. That's what they're analyzing. They're measuring like for like. They're not comparing populations of people who don't smoke, don't drink, are wealthy, eat very well, exercise, to a population of people who eat poorly, smoke, drink, never exercise, are poor. They're measuring like for like.
Why are you shouting at me?
Because I am going to the work. If you don't do it, do to other places.
Why are you shouting?
Because of this, you are doing. I don't know. You are doing like this. I think you are going to accident.
No, shouting at me no good, man. Me no shout at you.
But the thing is that, what you think if you do like this one, you are going at work and somebody else.
But that one, if you're running like that one, you're gonna fucking fall in it. But hurting yourself.
But yeah, because of this, I save myself.
That one very icy road, man. Okay, have a nice day. Bye bye.
Like, have you ever bothered to look into them? Have you ever bothered to look into anybody else who's not like what you would consider to be like a good representation of your ideology?
Yeah, so Indians do have higher rates of heart disease, and that seems to be due to their saturated fat consumption, primarily. So they eat a lot of dairy in the form of butter, clarified butter, also called ghee. So that's probably the main reason why you see higher rates of heart disease in Indians. I've talked to some doctors who've also said they also just have narrower arteries. I don't know if that's true. There might be some genetic differences where they're more prone to atherosclerosis. But they eat a lot of saturated fat. There's also issues with like malnutrition and crap in India. There's a lot of poor people. I think they also have a pretty high smoking prevalence. And pollution in India is also really bad. There's a lot of like smog from like the traffic jams and cars running all day. There's a variety of reasons why you see higher rates of heart disease in places like India, despite them eating much lower quantities of red meat. People have also pointed out the Japanese, they have very low rates of heart disease despite eating a very high cholesterol intake. Now, they eat very low amounts of saturated fat. And saturated fat has a much bigger effect on your serum cholesterol score and thus your risk of heart disease than dietary cholesterol. So that accounts for those sorts of differences.
Okay.
So again, if we have an interest in living longer, healthier lives, I would say a plant-based dietary pattern is going to be ideal. And if you have an interest in not being a genocidal asshole who pays for animals to get tortured and murdered, you might also not want to eat meat.
And if you want to live a little before you ultimately fall off this mortal coil, I say order a 12-ounce ribeye.
Well, you can eat plenty of good vegan food, dude. You should check out my Instagram. I post some like food there. I got some really good vegan Chinese takeout. You can eat good food on a vegan diet, and you can enjoy those sorts of foods and live a little longer and a little healthier. So it's a win-win. You don't harm animals, you're healthier, and you can enjoy all the foods you used to enjoy.
Except steak.
Well, there's vegan steaks. They're usually made out of seitan.
That's not a steak. That's seitan.
Well, it's the
That's
plant-based
Satan.
version of a steak. By the way, what's your best bench press?
I don't lift weights like that.
No? Okay. I just benched 410 a few weeks ago.
Cool, congrats.
You want to do a bicep flex? Compare arms?
Nah, I'd rather box.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've actually, I contacted iDubbbz, and I told him I wanted to fight with Sam Hyde, but he never got back to me.
Yeah. I don't have anything to say about that guy.
Yeah. He's kind of become ultra cucked.
Yeah. Whatever it is, good luck to him.
But you do have an interest in the betterment of humanity in general, though, don't you?
I wouldn't say I am completely disinterested, but it's something where I realize we're all sinners. We're here because we turned away from God's light, and because of that, we had to be separated from Him. We were not worthy of heaven. And on this mortal coil, for one thing, we were given animals as a source of food and beasts of burden, and in some cases, pets. And when we die, we are going to be judged. And one of those judgments, one of the criterias of those judgments is not going to be, did you open up the cage and let the chickens run free?
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
So, if you believe in these biblical stories, what kind of foods do you eat in a garden?
What kind of foods do you eat in a garden?
Yeah, the Garden of Eden. What kind of foods do you normally eat in a garden?
Vegetables. Although in the Garden of Eden, that's where Adam named all of the animals that God created.
Well, he named them. Does it mention he ate them?
It's been a while since I've read the story, but
it didn't mention anything about eating them.
Well, when we got sent down here, we were told that animals were to eat.
Yeah, so there's actually a passage from the Bible that says, "No evil shall enter my kingdom, no animals shall be slaughtered." It seems like the original plan that God had was for human beings to just eat plants. So if you want to fall in line with God's plan, why wouldn't you adopt a plant-based diet?
Holy shit, bro. In in the Old Testament, it literally tells you which animals you can eat and which animals you cannot eat. And it's not even about, well, you know, this is a good animal. It's literally like clean versus unclean.
Yeah, but like I said, God's original plan was for humans to live in the Garden of Eden. There was never any mention of killing animals. There was, you know what kind of foods you typically eat in a garden. So if you wanted to live more in alignment with God, why wouldn't you eat a plant-based diet?
God's original plan, regardless of what it was, is not the plan that's going on now. We got cast down from the Garden of Eden, from paradise, because we ate a fruit. We ate fruit, and everything went to shit. Eat a steak, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so you're admitting you're committing sin by eating meat.
No.
Yeah, you are.
When the fuck did I say that?
Well, you admit that. Again, God's original plan was for people to eat a plant-based diet, just eating foods you'd typically see in a garden. It's also mentioned in the Bible that once you go into his kingdom, no animals are slaughtered. So there's no meat in heaven.
Yeah, in his kingdom.
Yeah, there's no meat in heaven.
That's different from down here where we were told to eat the food that was given to us by God, which includes cattle and other wild animals. And
we weren't supposed to eat them.
Well, God told us to. I'm just listening to God.
Well, he didn't.
I don't need to listen to games.
He didn't tell you to eat them.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't tell you to eat them. He said
we were literally told by God what animals we can and cannot eat.
At best, he said it's permitted. So you're going away from God, according to your, biblical scripture, if you eat meat. On top of that, if you look at the New Testament, Jesus also walked into some of these temples and said that it's a bloodbath. It's a slaughterhouse. He was actually mad at these temples for slaughtering animals. He didn't want to see that. He thought it was wrong to slaughter animals.
He thought it was wrong to sacrifice animals and other, humans for that matter. Although that was an Old Testament thing anyway that was carried over. But he thought it was pointless and frankly ridiculous to sacrifice animals.
He didn't say it was pointless. He said it was immoral. He called it a bloodbath. He referred to it as a slaughterhouse. He didn't like animals being killed.
Yes,
period.
because these Pharisees, I forget what the Jews call their priests, but these holy men were doing so in a way that was more so just a ritual for ritual's sake, like in the way that if you were to eat meat and be like, oh no, it's fine because I'll just eat double the lentils tomorrow. That's what he was referring to. That's why he was fed up with the way that they were acting in the temple. And that's what happened when he went into the temple and saw money changers also doing their thing. He ended up driving them out with a bullwhip. So, are you saying that money is not ethical as well because Jesus said so, at least according to
Well, he was against usury.
Oh, yeah. As he fucking should.
He wasn't against money, he was against usury.
Yes, but he was also against commerce.
Slaughtering animals. He was also against slaughtering animals.
In the temple
criticized
as a way to get away with your
No,
great
he
sin.
just plain and simple was against slaughtering animals. And again, if you believe in God, you'd believe in the Holy Trinity. Jesus would have said, no evil shall enter my kingdom, and no animals should be slaughtered. Jesus sees animal slaughter as evil.
Yeah, slaughtering animals in order to try and cover up the great sins that you've committed against God. Yes, that is literally
he sees
what it was.
animal slaughter as
That
evil.
Is quite literally what it was.
Again, God is quoted as saying, no evil shall enter my kingdom, no animals shall be slaughtered. He sees animal slaughter as evil. So
Yes,
you're
and
committing evil by slaughtering animals according to your own beliefs.
You're purposefully taking allegory. You're purposefully taking allegory and interpreting it purposefully because it fits your
No,
thing. You've memorized like 3 or 4, not even full passages, just like, you know, the like literally like the 4 or 5 words each that
if
allows
God,
you to believe that you know something about Christianity.
If God
and then
says,
you turn around and you try and spit it at me as though I don't know my shit. I might not be a Bible thumper. I might not be the kind of person who can quote things off of memory, but I have read not all of the Bible, most of the Bible. I'm working on it. All right.
So tell me, how would Jesus slaughter an animal?
How would Jesus slaughter an animal? Probably in as humane a way as possible, and he wouldn't do it just for the sake of it, or do it to try and cover up his sins.
So you're saying Jesus wouldn't eat meat if he didn't have to?
I don't know what he would have done. Maybe not.
Again,
I don't even know how you extrapolate.
Where in the Bible did Jesus ever kill an animal?
I don't know.
Nowhere.
I don't think it was
nowhere.
Dude, where in the Bible did Jesus take a shit? You think?
We can presume he may have taken shits.
All right.
I don't think that's an important detail that an author would write.
We can presume, seeing as how this is 1st century Bronze Age. I believe, yeah, it's literally the Bronze Age, and they didn't just have supermarkets back then. Chances are Jesus probably slaughtered an animal or two.
Then why does it never make any mention of him ever killing an animal? It says he was a shepherd. He took care of his sheep. Never mentions anywhere that he killed any animals. Never mentions anywhere that he ever even ate meat.
Jesus was a carpenter. Again, you're taking allegory and
he was a carpenter and he was a shepherd. He kept sheep.
All right, sure, but bottom line, you're taking allegory and trying to use it literally, and it's not working.
Well, it's not just allegory. Like, do you think? So do you think him slaughtering animals and maybe his like dietary habits, that might have been something authors at the time might have taken interest in? If they never mentioned anywhere that he ever killed an animal, never mentioned anywhere that he would kill an animal in any kind of specific way, and again, it's also mentioned that God sees animal slaughter as a form of evil. God's initial plan for human beings was to live in a garden where nobody ate any meat. Why, if you're a Christian, would you have any interest in killing any of these animals?
Because God said we are allowed to kill animals for food and certain
you don't need to.
Certain other tasks. Bottom line, that is what it said. Now you're trying to. I literally did a stream on this yesterday. Don't watch it. I kind of it was a little all over the place. It wasn't the best stream of mine, but you're using Christianity, you're using doctrine from an egoist standpoint. You're not actually worried about what is said and what is meant by it. You're worried about how you can apply it to your standpoint. And like I don't know what your chat's saying. They're probably your diehards. They're probably like, yeah, get him, man, get him. But at the end of the day, dude, fucking, you're just incorrect. You're incorrect.
What would Jesus think of your beliefs that it's okay to wipe out all of humanity because it's okay to like eat burgers?
I think Jesus is a smart guy. I think Jesus is a real smarter. Is probably smarter than me. Definitely smarter than you. And he would probably see that specifically that part of our little debate here was completely and totally ridiculous, and that I was obviously being facetious, because why would I take that seriously? Oh, what if we weren't here? We are here.
Okay, so are you saying you don't actually agree with the argument you made earlier?
I'm saying that I was just saying whatever the hell I felt like in the moment, literally whatever came to my head, and yeah, you can extrapolate from that whatever you want. Really doesn't matter.
You know, lying is a sin.
Huh?
You know, lying is a sin.
Bearing false witness, different from telling a white lie to a guy who thinks he's trying to mog me over his bicep weight when I'd beat the shit out of him if it came down to it.
Okay, well, maybe once I get into some MMA training, we can see about that.
You got a little shaky there. Well, maybe.
No.
It's all right, dude. I'm on the other side. I can't get you. Relax. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I know what that was earlier.
All right. Well, maybe we can find out about that later. But anyway, do you think Jesus would make up lies like this and be dishonest? And when somebody's trying to have an actual debate, do you think Jesus would make up these kind of silly lies?
Actually, Jesus was in plenty of ridiculous debates, and he knew how ridiculous they were, and he handled them, maybe not exactly the way I handled them, but then again, I never made the claim that I am or are anything like Jesus, right? But yeah, no, look, Jesus knows a con. Jesus knows bullshit when he sees it, and he knows how to handle it in a way that is not going to be all fucked up, you know? So...
Okay, so do you think Jesus would have a problem with the way animals are treated today?
In some ways, yeah, probably. Like if you think if you're under the impression I support like factory farming, no, of course not. I don't know anybody who is. Anybody who is probably a factory farmer.
95% of animals on the planet, including in the United States, are factory farmed. So the likelihood of you never eating factory farmed meat is practically zero. So
Okay.
you are, in fact, in support of it.
Okay.
So do you think it's important for Christians to be in line with Christ?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so you are not in line with Christ when you eat meat.
Not quite how it works.
Well, yes, you just said Jesus would not approve of factory farming. You buy and eat factory farmed meat, so you are not in line with Christ.
Jesus also said that, or you know, Jesus and just the Bible in general says that you shouldn't steal. But if you are absolutely positively out of options, maybe you got to steal. You know?
Well, you're never out of options.
Yeah. All right. Well, whatever you say, man. Bottom line is, I like meat. I'm gonna keep eating meat, and God's fine with that. You can continue to use my religion for your egoistic.
You just admitted God is not fine with that. You just admitted Jesus would not approve of factory farming.
You can keep trying to catch me in this weird thing where you use my religion, the word of my Lord, as some egotistical means to try and convince me or whoever you're trying to convince that meat is evil 100% of the time, and you know, you should never eat it, and you should switch to a plant-based diet. But the bottom line is there is multiple passages that refer to the consumption of meat. Some of them are rules and regulations. Others are literally just, oh, they slaughtered meat. There is no they slaughtered meat and God got mad. It's just they slaughtered meat and they ate it. That's it. You know?
Yeah, so you just said God would not approve of factory farming. You also admitted that you support factory farming.
No, I didn't.
So you're doing things that God does not approve of, while claiming we should be in alignment with Christ.
You know what? Maybe you do. Maybe you do need to watch my stream from yesterday. It's only an hour long. It's not that hard. We're all sinners. None of us are actually in alignment with Christ.
Well, look, when you knowingly and willingly commit sin on the day of judgment, what do you think God's going to think of that?
The foundation of Christianity is the understanding that we are all sinners and that we fall short of God's glory and Christ's glory. And we have to try our best, but when our back is against the wall...
Well, you're not trying your best.
I'm trying as best I can, man.
No, you're not. You could eat a plant-based diet and never support factory farming.
No, I couldn't.
But you choose not to do that.
No, I couldn't.
You absolutely could. If I can do it, then what is stopping you?
I can't bench 400 something pounds. That's what's stopping me, man.
Okay, well, regardless of how much you can bench, that doesn't make it impossible to not support factory farming. So when you're doing things that are well within your control, where you're knowingly committing some kind of act of sin or wrongdoing, on the day of judgment, God asks you, okay, well, why did you do this? Like, do you think, oh, well, I couldn't do it. Like, do you think that's going to fly?
I think
God would know if you could or could not do it. And I think God, with his infinite wisdom, would know you absolutely could have, and you just chose not to. Just like any other wrongdoing you could commit. Like if you were to rape a child, like do you think telling God, well, I just couldn't not rape the child?
You're gonna compare eating meat to child rape?
I'm not comparing it to child rape. I'm just saying the excuse. So I'm just saying that excuse is nonsense. If you can live through life never raping children, never murdering somebody, never stealing, you can absolutely go through life never supporting factory farming.
Sure, whatever you say. Look, God has more important things to worry about than factory farming. Even if it is something on the list, especially with someone like me. I've been around the block, man. All right. I think when it comes to face up to what I've done in my life, I don't think I don't think eating Purdue chicken is going to be at the top.
Do you
of the
think
list.
God is concerned with pandemic diseases that kill millions of people each year?
Probably, yeah. But then again, those can also be.
Where do you think those diseases originate from?
From him as well.
Well, where do you think those diseases originate from?
Could be a bunch of different places. Including
they originate from animal farming.
Yeah.
So where do you think the flu virus came from? Flu virus originated from human beings eating waterfowl.
It's a very nice pivot there. That was a very seamless transition, I will say.
Well, thank you.
You lost the religion debate, so you're like, let's talk about pandemics.
We're still on religion.
Did HIV?
Yeah, HIV came from people eating bushmeat, particularly chimpanzees.
I heard it was from fucking chimpanzees. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
No. So HIV came from eating meat. Tuberculosis came from eating meat. Smallpox came from eating meat. All of these diseases that we're afflicted with have come from us eating meat. And you just mentioned that these diseases, they're a punishment from God. Do you think they might have been a punishment for eating meat?
Nope.
Well, they came from human beings' close proximity with animals through agriculture.
Do you think Sodom and Gomorrah was a punishment for eating meat? They were eating meat there.
The story of Sodom and Gomorrah, that was a punishment for being gluttonous, inhospitable, just terrible people.
In addition to...
What?
In addition to...
Well, they tried to rape an angel.
Red alert.
Man.
Red alert.
Maybe if smallpox virus was indeed a punishment from God.
There is a gay guy. Gay guy alert.
There's a
gay guy alert. Red alert. Gay guy alert. Gay guy alert. Red alert. Warning. Warning. You are the gay guy. This is the gay guy right here. Warning. Warning. Red alert. Red alert. Red alert. Alert. There is a gay guy. Warning.
So how do you know those aren't punishments for eating meat?
So how do you what?
How do you know those aren't punishments for eating meat?
How do you know they are?
Well, I'm asking you, how do you know they're not?
But how do you know they are?
Well, I'm not saying I know they are. I'm asking you, how do you know they're not?
And I'm not saying...
There's no way for you to know that.
And I'm not saying I know they're not, other than the fact that I would guess, seeing as how it is literally stated in the Bible what animals you can and cannot eat. So...
Have you ever eaten pork?
Yes.
Okay.
I ate pork.
Okay, so please explain to me why you call yourself a Christian, that you say we should follow God, and then you're deliberately going against God's word.
That's an Old Testament thing that when Jesus came, he specifically said it's okay to eat pork.
Where did Jesus ever say it's okay to eat pork?
I don't have the exact quote, the passage right in front of me, but there were plenty of things that when Jesus came, he quite literally said it was okay or not okay to do, depending. And eating meat was not one of those things.
So Jesus never said it's okay to eat pork.
I don't know. Like I would, or what I mean is, I don't know what passage he said that it was okay to eat pork.
He never said it's okay to eat pork.
There were plenty of there were plenty of passages in the New Testament where Jesus would do things and they'd be like, yo, what the hell are you doing? Like, for instance, hand washing, and ritual bathing was a big part of the Old Testament. And Jesus would eat without washing his hands at times, and they'd be like, yo, what the hell are you doing, dude? And he would end up saying, it's not about clean hands, it's about a clean soul, essentially, is what he would end up saying. I don't know where you're getting your information from to be so sure that he never said you're allowed to eat pork.
Well, it's interesting he mentioned having a clean soul is important because there are things like the Daniel fast that, again, that state meat corrupts the soul.
Sure thing. Yeah, whatever, man. Okay.
Okay. Well, I think we might as well wrap this up. I don't like, as I mentioned before, I don't think there's any way of justifying meat eating without also accepting that it's okay to take away human rights. I think that I was able to demonstrate that in this debate. My debate opponent actually later retracted arguments he made, claiming, oh, it was all a joke, so this whole conversation was basically a waste of time because he wasn't able to.
It was obviously a joke from the get-go. I have no idea.
Yeah, so he wasn't actually able to provide an argument against the vegan position.
The vegan position is gay.
Yeah, I think I was also able to demonstrate that vegan diets are healthful.
He just agreed with me.
Okay, you put pork in your mouth, so yeah, who's gayer here? So, I was also able to demonstrate that vegan diets are healthful.
That's all you need.
And I think I was also able to demonstrate, based on his own beliefs, he's a hypocrite. If he considers himself a Christian
Mr. Burgess,
who wants to, well, I'm not.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe if God exists, he's going to judge me favorably.
God will strike you down in your hubris. Where is your shame in the face of our Lord?
And this guy claims to be a Christian, claims to be a follower of Christ, but deliberately goes against values that he believes Christ holds. So, all right. Do you want to make an ending statement or anything?
Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
Okay. All right. Well, take care, dude. Maybe we can talk another time or something about maybe another topic.
Yeah, sure.
But enjoy the rest of your night, man.
You too. Have a good one. What the what? Oh. What the fuck was that, dude? Holy shit, man. Get damn. Baby, I'm really sorry to do this. Would it be alright if you switched over my laundry? I'm sorry. I'm being an asshole right now. It's just I had to do the stream because it was a big stream. I forget if I told you about what was going on. Oh, yeah. She's like, yeah, you told me about your internet shit again. Fucking stupid. Like, here's the thing, right? I don't have anything against vegan gains on that level, right? But, like, he was just being, like, ridiculous. And to my understanding, that's kind of his MO. I've never watched anything on him before. If anything, I watched, like, Grade A Under A's video, like, almost 10 years ago, which, like, I mean, come on. The fucking... That's not the way to get a feel for somebody. Excuse me. That's not the way to get a feel for somebody when it comes down to it, right? Looking at their hit pieces, I didn't want to like bring that into it. But yeah, that whole debate like was just really fucking strange, and I have no clue what like. Well, that's the thing. I know what he was trying to do, right? He's probably got this thing where he likes to argue with people. I like to argue too. Don't get me wrong. He likes to argue with people, and he likes to be right. And his thing, his autistic fixation is veganism. You know, it was all good. He was being ridiculous. He was being stupid about it, right? But the point where it was just like, is this guy fucking serious? He's like, how much can you bench? How much can you bench? Oh, you don't bench? Oh, do you want to compare biceps? It's like, dude, I would fucking choke you. You would wake up looking at me. I'd be standing over you. I'd look down on you as you what? Like you can't hit me. You can't hit me with that. Oh, my biceps are bigger. My biceps are bigger, so I mean, who's the real man here? It's like, I would break you. What are you trying to do, man? And of course, as soon as I mentioned boxing, he's like, oh yeah, maybe we'll talk about that later. Moving on. And then he really got shook. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, I'm not someone who's big into drama. Honestly, when I called him on that, and when I was like, I would beat the shit out of you, or whatever I said it was, that kind of came from out of nowhere. I didn't even mean to necessarily do that, but also, like, he was being a punk about it. So it's like, fucking whatever. If he wants to run it, we can run it. I'd rather do it in the United States. If he's thinking Misfits or something like that, I'd rather keep it in the United States. Either that, or if he wants to come up here, I'm fine with that. We'll go to Big Six and we'll hash it out. But fucking, it's like, nah, like fuck that bullshit, man. He can stay a vegan. I'm not trying to make him not a vegan. He can. Hey, more power to him. I'd eat vegan food if it came down to it, right? Vegan Chinese, I'd give it a try once, right? But the idea that I'm a bad guy because I eat meat, and that's the only thing that makes me a bad guy, right? Jesus said this. It's like, dude, get out of here. What are you fucking talking about, dude? And then all the hypotheticals too. That's why I stopped giving a shit halfway through, is because, like, that's what those hypotheticals are meant to be. Is you're meant to be sitting there like, oh no, I have to have a right answer to this. I have to have a right answer to this conversation. He's asking me a hypothetical question. I have to give him an answer, and it has to be the right answer. And then no matter what your answer is, he's gonna like try and use it against you. Either that, or it's a leading question. Like, I asked him to define. What did I ask him to define? Human rights, right? I asked him to define human rights as he believes it pertains to animals and things like that, and he didn't want to. He straight up didn't fucking want to, And then he's asking me all these leading questions and stuff like that, and it's like, that's just fucking weird, bro. You're kind of weird for that. Not gonna lie. You're a weirdo, kid. You're a fucking weirdo, It's just like, holy shit, dude, Chris Lynch 2. Why hello Lynch number 2? I don't prefer to call you Chris Lynch 2. I prefer to call you Chris Lynch A. There's Chris Lynch 1, and then there's Chris Lynch A. Okay, we're gonna call you Chris Lynch A from now on. He has no objective basis for morality. Everything is just Adam Soup in his worldview. Yeah, and this is what I was talking about in my stream. If you check my YouTube channel, you'll see a stream from yesterday. It's kind of jumbled. I didn't do the greatest job in the stream, I'll be honest with you. But it is only about a half hour to an hour. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's like an hour. I talk about the egoist Christian standpoint of, here's what I want and here's how God justifies what I want. That's the way that people operate, and that's the way that he was operating, was, here's what I want, oh, and God said that it's okay, that it's cool, that it's a good thing, actually. And that's not the way things work. It's what God said, and then you obey that, right? It's God first, you obey. It's not you first, and then God is your sassy gay best friend.
This is a Scott moment. 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 Ah.
Oh, shoot, Greg? Yo, what's going on, Greg? Greg sent a TTS in. What's good, man? Hell yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but like that's what he was trying to do, was he was trying to make it into a thing where it's it's not about what God actually had to say. It's not about what God wants. It's about what he wants. And then, oh, well, God said what I want is that's what we're doing, It's just ridiculous, It's ridiculous as hell, I don't know if I don't know if Jet's still here. Is Jet still here? We might be having a Vegan Gains boxing match on the site. Everybody let Jet know. Everybody let Jet know we might have to start hosting boxing matches on the site, because I might really box Vegan Gains if he's down for it. You know, I'll do it. Fuck him. Man, that shit was fucking bonkers, kid. That shit was fucking bonkers, dude. Help says, Scott, how do you feel you hosted the first debate in Fish Tank Live history? Dude, fantastic. Honestly, I didn't think about it that way. You know? But, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really happy about that. I hope you guys rated his chat, too. I really hope you guys rated his chat, you know? Hold on. I want to see if, hold on. Vegan Gains. He's still live. Yeah, he's still live. So we're going to go ahead. All right. He's looking into biblical shit right now. And I'm sure it's Seventh-day Adventist shit, which is literally like the freaks of the Christian world. They're barely even Christians, you know? Yeah, you see his, you see this? Look at that. The dude's like, it's just funny because you can see the difference between them, right? Like, okay, yeah, Vegan Gains is big, but he's not big in the way that guy is. And it's just funny to see.
Compassionate treatment of animals.
Everybody should raid and go J. Hold on, let's
That's
see.
Interesting. I'll actually read that whole thing later. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Or not Dodo. Bend over.
Can't see anything. Is this what he does? He just looks at fitness.
He's pretty shredded.
People? I don't know. I don't know, dude. I got to.
Okay, she's got to have an OnlyFans.
Oh, dude, really? Are you?
There's just no way.
I'm on Fish Tank Live. I ain't got to worry about that.
I think somebody sent me her shit before.
See, like this. That's a shit. Gains. Hold on.
Atonement, mercy, development. There's no way. Sent me her.
That shit right there. Vegan Gains is sitting here doing this. That's his workout. He's doing this, right? He's doing this in the gym all day, and he thinks that means something. He thinks that means something, especially to someone like me.
Builder.
Riff. Oh.
Creatine MSM. What's MSM?
Mainstream media. The globalists. Anyway, he's just simping over here.
So
I'm not really that interested in what he's.
She just takes like
hold
BPC
on,
157.
Neil Rigger. Scott's reacting to your stream.
People argue whether or not BPC 157 is natural. When it comes to like most peptides, I'd say who fucking cares?
Oh, who fucking cares? Yeah.
3 peptides that changed my life. That's kind of risky to post about that on Instagram.
Thus he declared all
BPC KPV targets the gut more.
Interesting.
CJC 1295 natural growth hormone levels basically just means aid in recovery, fat burning.
Oh, we got our first J. John Doe, our first J.
Never heard of CJC.
So you got to subscribe for a minute, I guess, which is like stupid, but it is what it is.
At least 10 people were killed in one of Israel's largest incursions on the territory.
Look, I don't hate bodybuilding insofar as it's a I don't hate bodybuilding insofar as it's a pursuit that somebody can put their heart and soul into. What I don't like is guys who they bodybuild and then that is the only thing that's important to them. And it's not just that's the only thing that's important to them, it's that they believe that makes them better or more virile or whatever than other people. And someone like me who doesn't lift weights but knows how to actually fight for real and knows I could take someone like Vegan Gains down, when he sits here and he's like, oh, show me your muscle. Show me your muscle. It's like, all right, bro, fucking yeah, you got bigger biceps than me. I'll wrap my small-ass biceps around your neck. And again, you'll wake up looking at the ceiling. You want to take it there, dude? That's fine by me. I'm not going to be like, oh, man, your biceps are bigger than mine. It's like, no, fuck you. Let's fight. Let's fucking fight it out then. You're going to be that way. Go fuck yourself, pussy. Fuck off, you know? Anyway, we got Jays. We got Jays. Neil Rigger, I agree, Scott. Dude, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It feels freeing to be on the Fish Tank Live site right now because I can call him gay. I can say the word retard and not be like, oh no, what if? Oh no, what if? Oh. This feels so nice. Thank you, Jet. You're probably too busy gaming right now, being an epic gamer. Thank you so much for this, dude. Honestly, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this, bro. For real. Thank you for everything you've done for me and everybody. You know, and thank you for this, because it feels nice to have been able to really let him have a piece of my mind in a real way, you know? Thank you, dude. All the J's. Let's see.
Thanks for the donation, Alu.
I remember David Rams saying that Jesus' cousin John the Baptist was a vegetarian. And apparently, James, Jesus' brother, was also a vegetarian.
I don't know how many people we...
Apparently, even Peter was a vegetarian. It comes from the apocryphal Pseudo-Clementine homilies.
That's interesting.
I just want to see if he acknowledges the J's. If he's smart, which I don't think he's dumb.
Did you see the new video where Earthling Ed argues with a robot?
Knowing what you know about how we...
I was gonna say, I just want to see if he reacts to the J's, you know? If he's smart, which I actually do think Vegan Gains is a smart guy. He's definitely no fool. If he's smart, he won't.
Grey Knight donated $2, not safe for work. Here's the link to our OnlyFans. One is free, other is VIP.
Oh, man. Is he really about to show the OnlyFans, ho? Nah, dude, you see that look in his eyes, bro? You see that look in his face, dude? That's oh man, I'm saving this for later. I'm saving this for later, kid. Oh man, oh dude, I'm so bricked up. I need to save this for later. Should I end the stream now, dude? Dude, should I end the fucking stream now, kid? That's what that look is. You see those eyes? Cool. That's those mommy.
Thanks for
that's
the
those
donation.
Dom me mommy eyes.
Grey Knight.
Oh man.
Synthetic analog of growth hormone releasing hormone, GH, RH, also known.
I'm getting out of here. Man, let's we're gonna stream snipe a couple of people and then we'll get on out of here. We'll go down the list. Greg, oh shit, Greg playing Morrowind. It's it's not playing sound. Interesting. Oh, duh, you know why?
Alexia's rogue hand. Not a rogue hand, like Dr. Strangelove. Amalexia's hands are just elves. Tavani have mouths, Amalexia has hands. Sota Sil probably had feet. I have no evidence to support that. It just seems real.
He's got a fucking Philadelphia Eagles blanket. Fuck the Eagles. Burn that thing, Oddbod.
It's your holding capacity or whatever the fuck.
Who's Skiz?
Alright, I'm trying to do the quest next, and I can't do it until you leave.
Oh, this is a fan, isn't it? Kill him, Jed. Kill him.
I can't start the quest until you clear out of here, Skiz.
Alright. let's
That's until you clear out of your skis.
All right, let's
That's until you clear out of your skis.
All right, let's
That's until you clear out of your skis.
All right, let's
That's until you clear out of your skis.
All right, let's
That's until you clear out of your skis.
All right, let's
That's until you clear out of your skis.
All right, let's
That's until you clear out of your skis.
All right, let's
That's until you clear out of your skis.
All right, let's
That's until you clear out of your skis. 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 That's until you clear out of your skis.
Gone, bro.
Yo, that was wild.
Sam Hyde, he can't keep getting away with it.
That was fucking wild, dude. Holy shit. God dang. Oh, fish toys. Oh, you know what? I should develop fish toys for this.
Bro.
For when I do stream in the future. I should definitely do fish toys for when I stream in the future.
Minecraft houses around the church.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, you know. Yeah, I'll figure them out. I'll ask you guys too. You know, I'll ask you guys too.
This
but yeah, I do gotta get out of here.
big.
All right, hold on. I do gotta get out of here. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you, Jet, again. Like, I realized halfway through this that, like, wait a second, I'm not on YouTube. Retard! Like, fucking, I could just say what I want, you know? And that's the first time I've felt like that in years on a platform. And because of that, we're definitely going to be doing this more. We'll probably have a fish tank, because I don't want to give up on the YouTube streaming or the Twitch streaming, but we'll probably do like fish tank exclusive streams. We'll make one of the streams that I do into a fish tank exclusive stream. Maybe it'll be the Friday night one, because that's usually the nights that I have activities going on. Like I'm trying to plan AOE. I'm trying to play AOE with Taylor from PKA. We're planning that right now. I actually have a pretty cool thumbnail from Chucksington, which I have to pay him for. I just remembered. I like I said, I'm ducking him. I'm trying not to pay him. No, jokes aside. Yeah, you know, like the Friday streams are usually the streams where like I will have something good going on if I'm gonna have something like extra good. So we'll probably make Friday streams the fish tank exclusives. Other than that, I'll try and set up multi-streaming on OBS so that I can do fish tank and YouTube and Twitch on top of that for the Wednesday and the Sunday streams. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can do our thing here. Thank you guys so much, though. Thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate the hell out of you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I know, like I said, I know it was a little wonky at first, but you know, excuse me. We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna make this good. It's gonna be fun. Peace out. Catch you guys later.